Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Friday, November the 29th. It's race number 7 at Del Mar. It's the Grade 2 Hollywood Turf Cup. We're going 1.5 miles on the lawn. And before we take a look at the field, remember the DRF's Black Friday sale is ongoing. 20% off just about everything in the shop. Use the coupon code BF2024 and you can access these great deals at shop.drf.com. Here's the field for the Hollywood Turf Cup pre-scratches and changes. You can access free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Cabo Spirit beat several of these 2 starts back when walking on the lead in the John Henry Turf. They tried the Breeders' Cup Turf. Class standpoint, little too tough. Pace standpoint, much different than the John Henry. Way too fast.
Yeah, he was never going to win the Breeders' Cup, no matter what trip they gave him in there, Dan. But certainly going that fast against that field, he was a no-hoper. He did steal that race 2 starts back, and it was 1.25 miles, not 1.5 miles. But listen, he's a good horse. He's been a good horse for a long time. He's capable over a lot of different distances, and he doesn't need the lead to be effective. So I wouldn't pigeonhole him as a sort of horse that needs to be on the front end.
And that could be a very key angle when assessing his chances in this race, because we throw up the Timeform US pace projector and it's an odd red bar. Fast pace for 1.5 mile turf race. You know Cabo Spirit's going to be close. Fearless Soldier, I have a feeling, is going to be ascend. And to me, the key to the pace is the 8. 911 Turbo. He can go to the front. He can also sit. I wouldn't be surprised if he's right there when they turn for home.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll be honest, Dan, when I went through the race, and I get it, 911 Turbo's got tactical speed, and he can be a part of this pace for sure, especially as they stretch him back out in distance for this. But when I handicapped it, I didn't, look at it going, oh yeah, 911 Turbo, he's going to be going a fast pace up front here. That's not how I looked at the race.
If the pace is fast like Timeform US expects, keep an eye on the 9 Balnikov. He has been a quality late runner for a very long time, and he is the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. We're going to start things off with another late kicker, the number 1 Rim Protector, who ran in a first level allowance last time out, got the right setup going 1 mile and a 16th, and just didn't do much. So they're going to try to stretch him all the way out and step him all the way up in class, and I wonder if it's a little too tough.
Yeah, that's how he looks on paper. I mean, listen, I don't think you worry about distance with this horse. They've stretched him way out before. He's run fine. He just doesn't really look like a stakes horse, Dad. It feels like every time they run him in races like this, it's just a little too tough for him.
Cabo Spirit was a multiple graded stakes winner at middle distances on turf back in 2022, and then a long drought occurred, which he broke 2 starts back at a big price with a beautiful ride from Abel Cedillo in the John Henry Turf, where he walked the dog on the lead and held them off. Just draw a line through his most recent start, the John Henry Turf. Victor Espinoza picks up the mount here, and he'll be forwardly placed with the class to win a race like this.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. There was a little bit of a dry spell there, but even while he wasn't, winning races, Dan, he was keeping good company and he was giving a good account of himself. He just wasn't coming out on top. They stole that race 2 starts back, but it showed that they could, try him at longer distances, Dan. You're not supposed to be too hard on him for the Breeders' Cup. This is a better spot.
Talk about a dry spell. The 3 Dicey Moara hasn't reached the winner's circle in almost 2 years, chased in vain against Cabo Spirit in the John Henry Turf. And I think when you just watch the race for the first time, you say, where's the excuse? He's sitting off that moderate pace and they turn for home and he just couldn't reel in Cabo Spirit. But I wonder if he's the kind of horse that excels when he's on a hard chase and they start sprinting home like that. And he also was kind of in between horses and in behind the leader in the stretch. He wasn't going to win with an ideal trip. He rarely does win, but I think this time other horses do the dirty chasing work, and I like him getting back out to a longer distance.
Like you, I can see him just getting the right trip in this race and being really, really tough. I mean, listen, he's obviously a contender in here. He fits really well with these kinds of horses. He's hard for me to take unless he was going to be on top anyway, unless he was going to be some kind of a big price, and I just don't see that happening.
Pratt has ridden this horse twice in his career. The horse has won both times. That just means this horse is going to take money. The 4 is Divine Propo. And I guess if you wanted to take one of 2 horses out of the John Henry, maybe this guy is one of them, because there just wasn't any pace in that race, Mike. And I know he really didn't run very well, but it just seemed like he was pulling hard early. And I think that worked against him. He's going to get a much better race flow. And I think you can argue he has so much more upside than some of the protagonists like Cabo Spirit and Dicey Moara and Balnikov, etc.
Yeah, he was favored in that John Henry last time too. I mean, it's one of those things too. You look at it, then they had to take the Lasix off, and it seems like he may be regressing there. But I don't feel like that was really the issue. I feel like that race wasn't run to suit this horse, and he was trending the right way prior to that. He can get a distance of ground. He can get a better trip in this race. He might even be a way better price than he was last time. There's things to like here.
Rock Emperor also might have been compromised by the lack of pace in the John Henry turf. This is a guy that just doesn't win very often, though. We're going over 2 years since his most recent start. He did win a Grade 1 in New York for Chad Brown back in 2023 when he upset the Joe Hirsch. It's just that he's Rock Emperor. We've talked about him all the time. He rarely comes through. It's nice to see him still kicking at the ripe old age of what? He's 8, soon to be 9. I'd need at least 15 to 1.
Yeah, just not a fan of this horse. Listen, he's got races that give him a real chance in here. Another horse that the distance isn't really that big of an issue, but he doesn't win very often, Dan. And it's not like he's going to be some kind of great price in here. Listen, maybe he'll fall through the cracks. And if he's 15 to 1 like he was last time, and you want to bet him, have at it. He's not for me.
Fearless Soldier was claimed at his most recent start. This victory going 1.25 miles. He was in for the $50,000 tag, and he just simply had too much speed for this field. He dropped down a 46 2/2. He kept on going. He has some backability. He has shown that at least I think 12 furlongs is going to be no problem for him. The question is, what kind of a trip is he going to get? Is he going to get a daylight lead like he had in this race, or is someone going to push him? Something tells me at some point they're going to make him run.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with that. He did look good winning that race, and it's not like he walked on the lead, Dan. So we'll see. But he got right to the front and there, opened up, and was too good for them. His prior win, the win last year, Kentucky Down, same thing. Just opened a clear lead on that field and just kept going. The talent's there. The distance isn't a big issue. He's still really lightly raced. I can see this being a pretty smart claim for these connections. I'm not sure I want to bet him against this field.
The 7 None Above the Law is a very hearty Calbred. He's won on all 3 surfaces. Distance doesn't really seem to be an issue, whether he's going short or whether he's going long. And he's repeating the dirt to turf move that resulted in this 3rd place effort in the California Flag going down the hill at 6.5 at Santa Anita. And he's on the outside here turning into the stretch, and he's going to give his usual strong kick to finish 3rd. He's a nice horse. I'm not sure if he's a graded stakes horse at this point in his career, however.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he's a great stakes horse either. I'm not really sure that this distance does him any favors. Listen, he's done a lot of things and he's done them well, so I understand why they're going to try this. I don't really see this horse being that effective at 1.5 miles.
911 Turbo is the number 8, and this horse does bring a lot of positional speed to the table. They ran him at Hawthorne last time out, and he just caught a yielding turf course. And I just, A, wasn't really sure he liked the course, but B, the way that race was run, I don't know what was going on in that situation.
I agree. I don't care about that most recent race at all. I think you're supposed to be really lenient. And I know he didn't win any of his prior 3 starts this year either, Dan, but they were clearly prepping him going down the hill off the layoff. He caught the soft turf course in a 3-horse field in his next start, and he's second best to integration. He ran really well. I know it was Kentucky Downs. He ran really well in that tap at 2 starts back. This horse is good. He can get a distance of ground. He can get any kind of a trip in a race. I think he fits really, really well in here, and I didn't see him being one of the favorites in this field.
He has won at 1.5 miles in the past. He goes out for the legend Neil Drysdale, and we'll see. 911 Turbo didn't run well last time out, but I'm just going to draw a big line through that race. Balnikov is, I think, the other horse you're supposed to consider out of the John Henry, because if there's one thing this horse needs, it's pace, and he just didn't get it last time out, and he just didn't fire behind Cabo Spirit. I thought in his start, the Del Mar Handicap 2 starts back, he didn't have the greatest trip, but he was running on once he got clear in the stretch, and you know he's going to run late. Is that kick going to translate to 1.5 miles? That's the big question.
It's a huge question. It's very interesting that the last couple of starts here, they've sort of thrown him in these longer distance races, and as you point out, I thought he handled it really well 2 starts back. Dan, I'll be honest, I love this horse. I see his name in the entries, and I'm just using him. I don't care. It doesn't matter if they're shipping him. I don't care what distance it is. They could sprint this horse. They can go a middle distance with him. They can stretch him all the way out. I don't care. This horse is really good. He shows up every single time. He needs a trip. Trips are very important to him. Pace is very important to him, but he is good, and he can beat this field if things work out for him.
The 10 Golden Eye has enjoyed a career resurgence since being stretched out to a mile and a half by trainer Peter Urton, a win at Kentucky Downs, then this score at Keeneland last time out against Allowance Company. I like that he was able to win on the lead at Kentucky. I like that he came from off the pace here and he made a sustained run. He did get the right race flow. They were going pretty quick for this distance, but he makes a sustained run and just shows why Urton stretched him out. He wants to go long.
Yeah, really well in his last two starts since they stretched him out. This is obviously, they're stepping him into a different league here off of maybe the two best races of his life, though, going a mile and a half. So we'll see how he stacks up here, Dan. To me, he's got to take another step forward in here, but I appreciate that he's versatile.
Jonathan Thomas is a very good trainer, and he's gotten the best out of the 11 Truly Quality recently. Here's his most recent win, a score in the Singspiel handicap at Woodbine, going a mile and 3/8. This pace was pretty quick for the distance. Truly Quality, though, has a lot of work to do, and time is running out. But Truly Quality is going to kick it into high gear just at the right time, get into the clear, and get it done. It was a likable kick for a horse that's won over a variety of surfaces and distances.
Yeah, not easy either when you have to angle all the way out like he's doing. They're trying to sort of run sideways as you're making up ground on the leaders, but he's coming pretty hard at the end of this race and closes it down relatively easily. This horse is good, Dan. I still think we haven't even seen his best race yet. He wants every bit of this distance and does not have to be as far back as he was last time. This horse can get a way better trip than that.
Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for the Hollywood Turf Cup, the Friday race of the day, 911 Turbo. May not have cared for that wet turf course at Hawthorne last time out. Good tactical speed, and you always use Balnikov.
I had enough questions about the horses who I thought were going to be the shorter prices in here, Dan, that I didn't really want any of them. As far as win betting goes, 911 Turbo to me was the most interesting horse at a price. I don't care about the distance. I think he can get it, and I think he'll get a good trip in here. I'm using Balnikov. I always use Balnikov. And I got Truly Quality in there. And in a lot of ways, the longer I looked at it, the more I thought the 11 was the horse to beat.
In some ways, I think he is the horse to beat in the current form he's in, and the fact that he's going to appreciate this race flow at this longer distance. To me, this is a spread race. I want to use Dicey Moara. I think Divan Propo is a horse I want to give another chance to, just because he has some upside. He's bound to be a better price, I think, than he was last time out. 8, 9, 11, 3 for Mike, 3, 2, 4, 11 for me. Good addition of the Hollywood Turf Cup at Del Mar on Friday. Good luck. Hey buddy, you look like you're in need of a winner, and just remember, if you like and subscribe right over here, you can get all of the great content on DRF.com, including Race of the Day, stakes previews, and lots more, featuring me and my superb selections. Trust me, you're not going to regret it.